Recording. So we're now recording. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to pull up our financial sheet that we started to mention last week. We're going to get right back into it. Okay, so my screen is up. You can see that. And also I have Raphael here with me. So Raphael, I don't know if you can type or, well, just nod your head. Which meeting ID did you use? Did you use 532-138-312? Okay, so that's the one that works. Okay, good. Yeah, because it kind of changed on me. I was expecting the last one we used. I thought it would not have changed, and then when I logged in, it was different. So today, we're going to continue discussing our monthly income and outgo sheet for February 2016. And we want to talk a little bit more also about Four Corners. So a lot going on today. And what I'm actually doing today is I'm sharing with the audience my personal sheet for February. Now, I am not revealing all of the details on the sheet in terms of all of the income information. You know, some of it is still private, but I do feel that it is important that you see actual numbers and how they relate to some real life situations. So this is my sheet that I have completed so far for the month of February. And it's still a work in progress because I still have a couple more days, not too many tweaks, but like this morning, I would have had one or two additional income coming in, or I would have also spent expenses that came up for my daughter and one or two household things. So we want to make sure that all of that stuff is reflected in the sheet for February. So we're just going to continue the discussion. And for most of us who are viewing this, this should not be a new sheet. We should have seen this in some form, whether electronically or whether in hard copy form. We should have seen this at some point before. So when we left off last Saturday, the point where we left off was with our auto transport, section 6 of the sheet. And we talked about things like auto insurance, license, and inspection, how we can kind of use them, chop those up across an entire year's period as opposed to waiting for the month that it's due and taking care of it, having to take care of it in 1 month. We talked about dealing with this section on debt and working out a plan to eliminate the section. So I have here 3 areas identified. Unfortunately, 2 of these, Scotiabank and First Caribbean, they are credit cards. Ugh, dreaded words. Credit cards that I have no longer access to, but I do have these payments that are still outstanding. And so I have to make a monthly commitment. So pertaining to credit cards, here's the suggestion. What we want to do is we want to identify which has, well, you could do this in 1 of 2 ways. You can list what has the larger balance and kind of tackle that first, or you can deal with what has the smaller balance and tackle that. But in any event, what you're doing is you are making your payments to these on these outstanding debts. But in the case of whatever you decide to be the priority, whatever you want to get rid of first, you put that at the top of your list. And once you put that to the top of your list, then what you're going to do is you're going to try to pay that off, put additional to get that paid off so that eventually it's off the list. It's eliminated. You don't have this as a line item in your outgo section. Then once you come to the next item, what you can do is, so the payments, for example, my Scotiabank payment here, I have $100. So once this is completely eliminated, then what we want to do is we can either take this entire $100 and put it towards the next debt and the repayment of the next debt, or we can take a portion of it and say $50, put it towards the repayment of the next debt. This, what you want to do is you want to increase the debt payments so that you get rid of that debt more quickly. And once you get rid of that, if you're doing taking this $100 and splitting it across the next debt item, let's say $50 goes towards the next item, and then you can put, say, $50 in a savings or an investment account and increase that. So that's an option. But so far for my debt section, this is what I have. And this middle item, this is actually a loan that I have. I actually took out a loan with my mother-in-law. And so, you know, if persons loan you money, you want to make sure you repay them as well. So credit card debt, any persons that would have loaned you money, is you want to make sure that they're all listed, they're all identified, they're all taken care of. Then set a priority list. So the top of the list is the item that you want to pay off first. You devote more funds towards that, get that paid off, squared away, and then, you know, you tackle the next item and put the funds that you would have used for the first item once it's paid off.
Let's go to Shadow.
Thank you, Nicholas. Thank you.
Let's go to Shadow.
Okay, thank you, Nicholas. Go on now. Mommy's busy. Go on. Thank you. Yes, once you pay that off, then you work on the next item. Okay, sorry, excuse me. That was my son wanting to deliver something to me. Okay, so the next thing is, you know, you have your kids section, and as long as you have kids, you have bills. And this is why I'm so excited about the opportunity that we have with Four Corners, because it gives us an opportunity to set up an income stream for them, so that, you know, all this money that we spend on them, which it's a blessing, it's an investment, but if we can get an income stream going specifically for them, that kind of eases the burden off of our pockets. Additionally, it teaches them from a very young age how to start looking out for their financial futures. Like my kids are 3 and 6. So the sooner I can get them going with an income generator, the better. You know, in 6 years, in 10 years, that's monies that they have on automatic, on autopilot going for them. And I don't have to scratch my head, you know, what about college? What about high school? What about, you know, any other expense that may come up for them? I have an income stream that is taking care of that. So my kids, I signing them up for Four Corners, and we'll talk more about Four Corners later. Oh yes, I am. The more income streams that you can identify for them and their needs, the better, because in a lot of cases, their needs are greater than ours. You know, with the technology age that we're in, they just have more demands. Schools are now requiring tablets and computers, and, you know, different, every week it's something different that you're spending on. So it's good to have an income stream designated specifically for your kids. So for me this month, it's my son's school fee. Of course, lunch. What I did was I incorporated lunch in my food section, because normally we go to the grocery store to buy their lunch, and that's, you know, as a part of my food costs. So I don't have lunch separate here, because I like for them to go to school with, you know, with a cooked lunch or just lunch from home. And this week, my son's teacher told me, The sandwich you were sending for him, that's not enough. He needs cooked food. He's a growing boy. So, we cook, and a part of what's left over from the night before goes to school with Nicholas. Teacher has her microwave, and I'm glad now that she can go ahead and heat up his meal, and he's taken care of. This other section, this represents my daughter. She does classes on Saturdays with her teacher. So this is the amount I have allocated for that. And I'm going to show you something pretty cool, something that Sean mentioned in our last live session. And he talked about, he suggested, for each of these categories that we have of expenses, debt, children, entertainment, recreation, he talked about getting an envelope and putting the monthly allocated amount in an envelope so that when it comes due, it's already there, put aside. And then we talked about expanding that or extending that, whereby we have an account or an income stream that is there for the sole purpose of just funding that particular expense. So what I actually did this week is I got started on the envelope idea, just because I don't have all these bank accounts set up right now, but that's what we'll be working toward. And so here I have, as an illustration, I have two envelopes to show you. I don't know if you can see the writing on there. One is kind of like backwards, but it says mortgage. So in it, my mortgage payment is due on Monday. And in this envelope, this contains, I probably shouldn't say this, but this contains my mortgage payment. Okay? And that's stacked away. So mortgage, no headache, money is aside for Monday. This, school fees are due for my kids. I pay monthly. My son, I'm responsible for my son's school fee. School fees due on Tuesday. So money's in here. Actually, what we do is, like I said, I'm responsible for daughter's school fee, son's school fee. My husband's responsible for daughter's school fee. So both school fees go in here. So when it's time to pay, money's already set away. So next live session, I have some of these envelopes. I have a stack here, okay, of envelopes. And what we're going to do is we're going to each get several of them for each of the categories that are represented here on the spreadsheet. We're going to each get an envelope, and we're going to write, the expense on the envelope. And we're going to get into the habit of putting that monies aside for that expense so that when it becomes due, it's already there in place. So we have I guess from person to person, that the number of envelopes required will vary. But I've already started mine. I've shown you two of them so far that I've started and I put aside. And it really feels good to know that that money's already taken care of. It's already put aside. I'm just now waiting for the date for that expense to be due. And then I can just go ahead and comfortably pay the expense because the money's already set aside for it. Some other things. Now, let me tell you guys, oh my gosh, this is so vitally important. So vitally important. This is stuff that you will not get in any financial seminar. But I have to say this. I know I kind of skipped this section on recreation and entertainment, but I have to say this. If there is any of us, for those of us, I should say, who have living parents, you need to have on your outgo statement, those of us who are adults, working adults, you need to have a section for your parents. You really do. And let me explain it. It's a biblical principle, right? My dad is deceased. I don't have a dad any longer. But my mom is still here. And the Bible tells us to honor our father and our mother so that our days will be long upon the earth. That is the first command with promise. How do you honor mommy and daddy? You honor them with your time, with your respect, and with your financial resources. A lot of us, when our parents get older, we see them as a burden. Let me tell you, if you are so blessed to have a living parent, God has given you an opportunity in your midst to acquire tremendous wealth. Honor your parents with your finances. And I guarantee you, you will never lack. Okay? So for those of us who think, and I'm not saying that you should work to give everything you have to your parents. I'm not saying that you should take on, if your parents have not been wise and made wise financial decisions, that you should take on that burden of their mistakes. But I'm saying, decide an amount that's comfortable, that will meet a need for them, and make it, just as important as it is to pay your mortgage or pay your child's school fee or pay back a debt. It's even as equally important or more important to honor your parents and to take care of your parents with a portion of your finances. And let me tell you, this section over here on income, you'll see that multiplying without even thinking about it. But before you even realize what's happening, you will see that you have blessings coming your way, not just in the form of money, but just favor and whatever else. God honors children who take care of and honor their parents. A word to the wise, seriously, get in the habit, honor your parents. I know we live in a time where a lot of us, we take from our parents, even our elderly parents who are on pension. We've had instances where you hear of old people having absolutely nothing because their families just take advantage of them. And they're no better off for it. So I can't stress this point enough. This section, and before, I think the sheet that I would have shown before never had this section included. But I was kind of reminded, I was nudged that, we need to make sure that we have a section here just designated specifically for parents. Okay? Enough said on that, but word to the wise is sufficient. So by backtrack, entertainment, recreation, and the order of these items is no suggestion of importance necessarily. I'm not suggesting that my recreational expenses or entertainment expenses is more important than my mother. No, that's not what I'm suggesting. It's just, I think this was another item, and it was more convenient for me to just replace that item and make sure that I had my mother there in that spot. Okay, so an amount allocated for her. Entertainment and recreation. I don't do that often, but obviously for this month we did do some fast food. And the sad thing is I don't even remember what it was spent on, but there was an amount allocated for it, and thank God it was only $40. For some people, that amount could be over $500, close to $1,000 a month. But fortunately for us, or for me, $40 this month was recreation so far. And recreation more than likely was just, going to a restaurant, some type of fast food restaurant. Savings and investment. Now, if you notice this particular section, it says savings / investment. What I would suggest is really, you can split this between two sections. Have one specifically for savings, have one specifically for investment. And the reason why you want to separate it is because the purpose of the savings is to grow. You're not dipping into it for any reason. It's just there to grow. The investment section, what you do is you put amounts into it over a period of time, but then you're taking amounts out of it to invest. So this is like your seed planting or your seed account, your investment account. It's like a seed account. Again, I'll reference Four Corners and the initiative that we have with Four Corners that we are about to begin, where we sponsor a student. So what you do is, you have, let's say in that investment account, you put $100 amount in that, sorry, $100 a month. In that savings account, you put $100 a month, sorry. That savings account, you're not touching. That's just growing, right? Growing steadily. And if next month you can put 200, I shared with you last week about the endowment plan I had going and how I lost everything because it came a time when I couldn't contribute the set amount to it. But the purpose of the savings account, just keep growing. You don't touch. The investment account, you put monies into it, but then you can use that money to invest in a cause. And so one of the things that we are doing with Four Corners, with the team that I'm a part of, is we're investing in young people and signing them up, sponsoring them, getting into their Four Corners business. So what you may also want to do, what you may want to consider doing, is gifting someone a sign up in Four Corners, what they call paying it forward. And so let's say someone has a birthday coming up, someone has an anniversary coming up, and you want to give them a gift, or someone has been really good to you, like a parent, and you want to give back to them, but you may not have it on a monthly basis to give back. Four Corners is an awesome opportunity to say, you know what, let me get you signed up, and then we can work towards in the future helping you get your four persons to sign up under you. And that's like a gift that keeps on giving, because you would have sown into them or given on one occasion, but then going forward, if they have persons signing up under them, they're reaping the benefits over the long haul. So this investment account, use it, to gift into the lives of other people. And if you're looking for ways of investing into a plan, into other persons, I would say definitely take into consideration the Four Corners model and using the funds from that to get persons signed up who may need that assistance. I know we said I would mention Four Corners later, but I just wanted to mention it here too, so that you could kind of see ways of investing. Sometimes people confuse the term savings and investment, and that's why I said it's kind of important to keep them a separate, because savings you're not touching for any reason. Investment, you're building it up to a certain point, and then you're using the monies to seed into a particular cause. Okay. Bank charges. A lot of us, we don't necessarily pay attention to bank charges. Actually, these two categories shouldn't be here because they don't fall into bank charges. I think I just changed some of the sections up to just to reflect personally the expenses that I have. So this may have been medical expenses or something else. I just changed it to bank charges, because the reality is, if you have a bank account, you're being charged for it. And you may not know how much you're being charged. If you have several bank accounts, then there are several charges. We need to keep track of that too, because that's money's leaving leaving you. And so we have to keep track of all of the ways, all of the channels that money is coming in, as well as money is going out. Okay. And just in case you're wondering, like, okay, why are you focused on the expense section so much? It's because there's a lot of ground to cover with the expense. Like I said, for most of us, we have more expenses going than income. So because we have so many expenses going, and a lot of us don't have a handle on these expenses, we want to kind of zone you in and get you focused on what's going on, how monies are leaving. And so you could just kind of stop the bleed. You know, there's for us, there's like gushing wounds. And we can't just use the Band-Aid approach. We have to really address those gushing wounds immediately. So that's why the focus initially on the expense side of things. Miscellaneous, you have your stuff like, you know, your barber. And some of these, I'll say this, it's probably not the best thing, but in some cases, these are expenses that I've incurred as a result of my business. And I have them here just because I've had to take them out of my personal funds to fund the business ideas. For those of us who are entrepreneurs, you know that businesses are like children. So before you reap any rewards or you reap any benefits from the business, you need to put into it. So I've put my business expenses under the miscellaneous section, but I strongly suggest that you have a separate income and outgo sheet for your business so that you can track the activity of that business. I would have had just one or two expenses that came up for this month, some initiatives that we're taking on regarding the business. And so I had to cover those. And, you know, this was at that point in time, the most convenient place to put it. And the monies were not coming in directly from the business. Like I said, it came out of my personal expenses. So, you know, I just attributed it as a cost and my personal expenses. So I have here, you know, hair, beauty. This is a business related expense. One of my nieces who did some work for me. These are all these 1, 2, 3, 4. These are all business related expenses. Top up, went to get a top up from BTC, and then of course, you know, everybody was who was from Comet Nation yesterday. They were parading around town celebrating the 2-year straight BAAIS, I think, or BAIC, whatever they call it. Champions Queens College. I'm an alumni, so I had to get a shirt just to represent yesterday, and that cost had to be accounted for. So that's my expense section. Now let's go over here to our pink section. And like I said to you, I was not going to reveal all of my personal details, but I want to just draw your attention to the fact that here I have 5 income streams represented. And I'm thinking there's possibly at least one more. But these are in like these last 3 where you're seeing the amounts. I don't know if you know about the life cycle of a business, but there are different phases of business. You have the birth, where you're just giving birth to an idea. You have the growth phase, like, you know, just like kids. The birthing phase, the growth phase, where, you know, the most growth occurs and the growing pains that goes along with it. You have a maturity phase where you kind of peak and you're seeing wild success, and then you have like a decline where you're getting into the golden years of the business and it's kind of tapering off a bit. Well, my suggestion to anybody with an entrepreneurial spirit, with or without, is to identify multiple streams of income. Like I said, the idea is to grow this list over your lifetime. You know, because for any one of the streams, you're going to be at a different point. You are going to be at the infancy. You could be at the infancy, or in the growth, in the maturity, or in the decline phase. And the thing is, you don't want to be like at the beginning, at the birthing phase or the decline phase, and you have all of these expenses going on. So if you have multiple that are at different stages, if one is on the decline, one may be going through growth or maturity. And so it balances out. you can still live comfortably, very comfortably, and do some other things if in fact, you have multiple streams going in. So just to look at some of the ones I have. Create space. What this is for those of you who don't know, I publish online content, something similar to this, where actually, these webinars, they're going to be put in courses that persons can, access subscriptions to by paying a monthly fee. And I also publish books. So this creates space. I receive a royalty each time one of my published products is sold. And so that's a stream of income. Now, I'll say when we talked about the different levels or the different cycles of a business, for a lot of these, I'm in the birthing or just growth phase, infancy phase. So they haven't taken off 100%, but there's a lot of potential there. So this publishing, this create space, that's one of them. And I don't think I wouldn't have generated any income from it until the end of February. So right now this space is blank. But by the 29th, I should have an idea of what was actually accumulated for that up to that end of this month. So create space, that's my publishing arm. Tutoring, right now I have students that I assist at the upper primary, junior high school level. And so that's the bulk of my income right now. And that's why I put an X, because you guys aren't supposed to know what that is. So, but that's the bulk of my income right now. And so that's an income stream for me. And some of these businesses are seasonal. So for the tutoring, it's the bulk of my income, but that's, pretty lucrative only between the months of September and May. So it's not a full round the year type business. It's only during the actual school year. Okay. Right now, like I said, bulk of my business. And look what else is here. Four Corners. So Four Corners is the great buzz right now. It's a business that anybody can get into. For my publishing business, for my tutoring business, obviously those are skills that I have, that I've developed, that I continue to develop over time. So they may work for me. They're not going to work for everybody. And likewise, you may be in a field that I know nothing about, and you may be a doctor, or you may be a landscaper or whatever. So that works for you. That's not going to work for me. But the beauty of Four Corners is Four Corners can work for anybody. Anybody, man, woman, boy, girl. You don't have to have a particular skill set. Anybody can join. Anybody can benefit from this business. And the thing is, it only requires a one-time outlay of cash. One time, that's it. Now, with anything, you have to put some effort into it. So with all of these businesses, do they require some TLC, and do they require some nurturing? Of course they do. Just like with a child, you don't just give birth to a child and then send them off to go raise themselves. You have to nurture and guide and do certain things. Same thing with your businesses. Same thing with Four Corners. But the beauty is, unlike a child where you're constantly dishing out funds, with Four Corners, one time. Unless you choose, like I said, to use that investment account to fund others coming into the business. Then, you can say, well, yeah, I used XYZ amount to get persons enrolled. But in terms of for yourself, what you would have spent just to become involved with the business, it's a one-time payment. Okay? And had an interesting revelation this week. We talked about in the Bahamas us signing up for Four Corners at the level 3, the 5460 level, and in other territories or jurisdictions, they sign up at the $18 level. So I actually had a scenario this week where someone in my downline signed up at the $18 level. It's a little less lucrative for a person signing up at the $18 level. If you're trying to grow, say, establish this business within a year, I can see the sense or the common sense of signing up at the level 3. That's if you're looking to see some returns, some lucrative returns within a year. If you are looking at it from a perspective of, I want to invest in a child, invest in a student, or if I want to invest in my child, I want to get my child signed up, so it's for the long term, you can do the $18. That's okay. So for younger persons who you're looking towards their future and helping them build a future, I think the $18 is okay. But if you really want to grow, get started with a business that anybody can do, and you're looking for some returns within the next 3, 6, 12 months, then I would say come in at that level 3, because then you'll definitely grow faster. So by sign up at the $18 level, that person came in at my level 2, my downline level 2. So the persons at my level 1, there's one individual for my level 1 that she would have signed up under. That person got a commission. I got a commission also, but I don't think the matching bonus happened. And for those of you who don't know what matching bonus is whereby the person underneath you, once whatever they make as a commission, you also get as a commission. So what's supposed to happen is I get a matching bonus of my level 1 person who that individual signed up under. But also I make a commission from my level 2. And that didn't happen. I only made one, whether it's the matching bonus or whether it was my direct commission from that person. Oh, sorry about that. Laptop was going to sleep. Yeah, I only made one. So again, not a great benefit. And the person who signed up at the $18 level, she's going to have to bring in like over 300 people in her downline to get to the level 6. So it's going to take longer for her to get to level 6, as opposed to if she's signed up at level 3, she would have, excuse me, she would have just have to sign up 50 people to get to level 6. But I'll say this, and we need to investigate this a little bit more. She was only able to do the $18 level 1 sign up. But if possible, if she's able to purchase the material that will boost her to the level 3 status more quickly, then we should see some things happening. So, for persons who may just want to get in, join the network, that's an option. Come in at 18. But see if you could come up with the funds to purchase your products at levels 2 and level 3, so that you can get to the level 3 status more quickly. Now, I know this is a lot of detail about 4 corners. Going into a lot with the assumption that you know what I'm talking about. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, what you can do is next Saturday, March 5th, is our second live meeting. And we'll definitely have more details about the program at that meeting. If you go to my YouTube channel, My Sister's Keeper, you'll see some of the, you'll see some videos where I pretty much give, what do they call it? Basically, I'm telling you, I'm helping you to identify whether or not this is a valid type business, where I'm showing you some results videos. Sorry, that's the word I was looking for. I have some results videos on my YouTube channel, so you can check those out. Those give you a little bit more of a detailed idea or perspective of what the program is all about. But definitely, I would encourage you, come out to the live session next Saturday, March 5th, and you'll get more explanation as to how Four Corners works and how you can get involved. Like I said, it's a business that anybody can get involved in. Now, notice what I have here. I have an amount, so I'm counting this on my income sheet, even though I may not have access to the funds. For the month of February, I have acquired $20 in my Four Corners business so far. That's probably going to increase before the end of the month. But so far for February, I have acquired $20. Now, that's not the total amount of money in my back office. I have, I think, like 50 something, 56 or something like that. But the reason that I only show 20 here is this is the portion of that funds that I've acquired in February. I joined the program in January 14th, and I already have $56. Now you may say, you know, $56, what's that? That's no money. But from an entrepreneurial perspective, when I look at the fact that with my other businesses, in some instances, I started off with zero and I stayed at zero for a long time. With my Create Space when I started publishing. People think, oh, you know, you become a publisher or you write a book and you make money. No, it doesn't happen like that. It's not instant. So I published my first book in 2008. Excuse me again. I didn't make that many sales from my first book at all. My publishing business is taking off now. But when I first started off, the first year, I didn't make anything. So wherein, you know, you're not going to start swinging from the ceilings at $56 coming into Four Corners. I started Four Corners January 14th. So in a month and a half to make $56 as a business venture for me, that's encouraging. I know that the sky is the limits. And I'm just excited to see where this business will be by next year this time, because, you know, it has the potential to grow really, really quickly once I put the time and effort into it. Okay. And again, the great thing about it is anybody can do this. Anybody. You just need to have the drive and the determination to work the business and to become a part of a team of people who are willing to help you build your business. So yes, this is definitely a viable income stream. So for the month of February, my Four Corners revenue so far is 20. KDP, this is the online branch of my publishing where I get royalties for like electronic books. And for the month of February, that amount is $641. Another income stream for me, Edible Moments. For those of you who don't know, I bake. Yes, I bake. So I have a little baking gig that I do as well. Easter's coming up, so for those of you who normally get my hot cross buns, get your orders in, because, you know, I'll only be doing a couple this year. Have a lot going on. But yeah, this is my baking arm, my baking business. And I've been baking since high school. So, and it's called Edible Moments. So I've had some orders this month. I had some stuff going for Valentine's, and that was, you know, $135. So that's reflected here also on my income section. And like I said, the idea is to grow this section. And even if we don't grow the section itself, let's say we stick with only, I don't know, 1 or 2 businesses. Aim for at least 5, so that God forbid something happens with your main income source. Like mine, right now my main income source is a seasonal income source. But aim for something that if something happens, God forbid, with your main source of income, you have others to fall back on. You're not in a state of panic.
Because the thing is, a lot of your expenses don't go away just because your income goes away. So you need to have ways of supporting yourself and see if you can, identify ways of just building these things to get it to that maturity level. Again, I can't stress enough the importance of the four corners, because it's a business where, you're part of a team and people are helping you to grow. With my other businesses, yeah, I work, pretty much I have my own students, but I partner to some extent with one of my sisters for a portion of the tutoring. But for the most part, I'm on my own. And building a business on your own is it's a whole lot of work. So imagine the luxury or the comfort of knowing that you have a team of people who are committed to helping you grow. You grow that much faster. So for so many reasons, I think four corners is it's such a good idea, such a good solution. And people think, oh, it's a pyramid. You get in, you get out, sorry, what you put in. Okay. So definitely I would encourage you guys to get involved with this. It won't hurt at all. And with that, I just want to talk now a little bit more about what's next. So what is next is, like I said, we have our live session coming up March 5th. The location, the venue for that section is on Shirley Street. It's next door to Roger D Photography in that plaza. There's BTC in the plaza. There's Better Bodies Gym. And right next to Roger D Photography, we have an office called Executive Business Solutions, or EBS. The sessions will be held there as of March 5th from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. in the afternoon. Okay, so we will, like I mentioned earlier, talking about the expense, we're going to get set up with these expense envelopes so that you can start putting your funds, your expenses away in the envelope so that when they're due, the money's in place. Also, we will have at that session more information about this four corners and how you can get involved. We're also going to give you the opportunity at the session to sign up for four corners. And if persons are interested about finding out more of other income generating opportunities that they may want to look into, we may have some time to talk a little bit about that. But remember, the whole idea is we want to simultaneously reduce or restructure our debt, stop the bleeding in areas where there is bleeding occurring, and we want to also suggest systems that we can put in place that are kind of like autopilot for managing our expenses. And the other side is we want to make sure that we identify income generating opportunities and we grow that list. And not only do we grow the list, but we make sure that we grow the various options in the list. So by next January, or even before that, even maybe in another 3 months, I want to be able to show you what this spreadsheet looks like for me as an incentive for you to go ahead and to build yours. But remember, there's a biblical principle involved even with this. Excuse me, sorry. There's a biblical principle involved here. The Bible tells us that Paul plants, Apollos water, but God provides the increase. So the increase that we are looking for, it's possible, but one needs to be planting, one needs to be watering, and sure enough, our Heavenly Father will take care of the increase, whether it's create space, whether it's tutoring services, whether it's Four Corners, or whatever other income streams. There are literally thousands to choose from. But we have to be committed to putting in the time, to putting in the effort. So just like how we nurture our kids, so that we go from birth through to infancy, growth, maturity. And then hopefully after years upon years upon years of success, then we go into decline. But we have to do the work up front to build this section. In fact, they both require a lot of work, don't they? Building your income as well as managing expenses. They require work. And so we have to be prepared to do the work. We can't be lazy. You know, wealth and success and money, they're attracted by go-getters. They're attracted by speed. Speed creates success. So if you have a lackadaisical, nonchalant attitude towards wealth creation, guess what? Not a lot of money is going to come your way. Okay? So again, we talked about changing our mindsets. We need to change our mindsets. And of course, going forward, we're going to expose you to a lot of wonderful content that will help you just manage those expenses and increase the income. Some of the things we have on stream, we have, the ebooks that come along with your subscription into the Four Corners, or your sign up into the Four Corners program. I would have shared earlier this week an ebook by Joyce Myers that talks about financial management. Powerful, very short read, only 60 pages, but very, very valuable information. I also I mentioned about the loan amortization schedule that unfortunately I don't have with me today to show you. I was supposed to have that today. My apologies. What I'll do is at the end of this particular webinar, I'll make that available via email. I'll email that out. But a lot of material that is designed to help us, and we'll be using them going forward in each of our sessions, our live sessions, our webinar sessions. We're going to be using quite a number of different resources just to help you with that mindset shift and to get you set in the right direction. Okay? So a lot of work ahead, but I would say that we're on a good path and we're heading in a good direction. And again, for next week, I want to just encourage people to share with your friends, let them know the date and the time. We want to see some new faces out at the meeting. We want persons to come out and support and to benefit from the information. Like I said, we're going to have a discussion or a whole presentation on Four Corners and how you can get involved. You'll have the opportunity to sign up. So, just bring a friend with you. Just invite them to the meeting. Tell them all about the program. And we'll continue on working on our financial picture and continue chipping away at the areas that we need to. Okay? So, thank you so much for your attention. Thank you for joining, Raphael, as always. Thank you for your support. Glad that I'm on your team, and all the others who are working along with us to, make 2016 just the best year of our lives. And again, if there are any questions, make sure you record them for next week. I think we'll have a better go next week where we have more time at addressing questions that will come up, a lot to be covered. And so let's just roll up our sleeves and get prepared to work in that session. So again, thanks for joining, and be blessed,
Stay safe.
and have a great evening.
Bye, Raphael. Thank you.